Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. So I decided to take a couple of days and come to Bally's here in Atlantic City to play some no limit hold'em, 1-2 no limit. My birthday's tomorrow, turning 40, so figured we will have a good time here and see if we can win some money. So I'm going to come back and do some vlogs after each day and just let you know if I had any interesting hands and let you know how it went. So anyway, just keep watching the video and hope you guys enjoy. All right, so it was a great first night. Finished up $240, so I was up a little bit over a buy-in. As for specific hands, like I guess because this is my first time playing live at a casino 1-2, I don't remember many of the hands. And actually, the table was pretty tight, even for playing at night. You know, there were definitely a lot of recreational players at the table, and then some tight players as well. So I finished up this amount without really even seeing many showdowns, just getting a lot of folds. Just a couple things to note. I did limp through on some hands. Never open limping, of course, but you know I did limp through on some hands. You know, like some suited connector hands or even some suited gapper type hands where I was in a late position, never an early position, but in a late position I would do something like that. Like if I was in the cutoff or the button, and if I knew that, you know, I'm really the players at the tables were not very aggressive at all. You know, like a lot of my three bets weren't getting called. And when they were, then usually I was still able to take down the pot. I made my my raise amounts. The baseline of my raise amounts were 5x. So the minimum I would raise with pre-flop was $10, and then I would add $2 for every limper. So you know, for the most part, it was like $12, $14, and I was pretty happy that I was able to count the chips on the table pretty well. So, I mean, overall, I thought it was a really great night. I didn't really have many monster hands. I did flop a set of aces, but unfortunately, nothing came in a hand because it went check, check, and then I bet and my opponent folded. So, you know, the thing was a lot of the players at the table kind of figured out that I knew what I was doing. So, you know, I really wasn't getting too much action. But again, I'm still happy because I finished up $240, so over a buy-in. So I'd say definitely a very good first night here, staying at Bally's in Atlantic City. So now I'm going to get some rest, and I'll play again tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm going to do during the day. I'll have to find something to do. Maybe I'll play poker again, but you know, from what I understand, it's just so nitty during the day. But it was fun. You know, definitely a bunch of recreational players at the tables here, and that's great. So anyway, on to day two. So just finished up day two, and another solid night. I was up tonight, $229. So total for the 2 days, I am up a little bit over $550, which is really nice. So about two and a half buy-ins, I'm up. So you know, one of the things I did tonight is I did a little research on, well, not research, but you know, I did my red chip lesson on straddling, because you know, straddling you don't really deal with. Online, and I was like, what is a straddling lobe? I knew about it, you know, you see it on TV, and straddling is just complete bullcrap. And I don't know why people do it. People do it because they want more action and they want a bigger pot. But you know, they're sitting there usually in the under the gun, throwing in two big blinds in order to. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. And the way I'm playing it, and I'm not really sure if this is the right way, is I am narrowing down my range when there is a straddle. which I guess is the right way to play it. I mean, there were so many people. There was a lot of times tonight. First of all, I have to say that if anybody who hasn't been to doesn't play live or hasn't been to a casino, seat selection, I am taking very, very seriously, and even table selection. Overall tonight, I the first table I played at, I literally moved my seat 4 times, because just trying to sit to the left of the recreational players. Then there were a couple situations where I was sitting to the right of a calling station, and it was a little frustrating playing next to him because he was literally just calling like everything, and being out of position versus him was just kind of a frustrating thing. So after that, I moved my seat, and I ended up sitting next to a guy who was constantly playing blind and not even looking at his cards. And again, that's just kind of it made it for a very difficult situation for me with him sitting to my left, where I didn't, I can't hand read or nothing, the guy, and it just made it kind of a difficult situation to deal with. So then I ended up moving over to another table, and where they sat me at that table, I had I had 2 guys to my direct left that were clearly regs. They knew what they were doing. In fact, the guy to my direct left was actually playing online poker while at a poker table, so he was actually multi-tabling live in a way. So I didn't stay in that seat very long. As soon as there was another seat that opened up, I moved into that seat because I wanted to sit on the left side of both of the regs. I didn't want the regs to be on my left side. If I was going to play pots versus them, I wanted to play at least them in position, and it did work out really well. I won a couple of decent sized pots versus those guys with the ability of being in position, where if I was out of position, it might have been a little bit more difficult. One thing I would definitely say about 1-2 Live is it really is like NL2. It's such a straightforward game, and it's really, if I have any advice for anybody who hasn't played it, is just, is bet for value. Don't really bluff too much unless you see you're at a super tight table. Like the second table I was at tonight was really, really tight, so I was able to bluff some flops, with some open-enders or flush draws. But for the most part, you want to play a very straightforward game and bet for value. And, because players do call down super light, but they do get sticky with hands. We had one guy tonight, there was one guy actually, he was bluffing all over the place, and he was surprised. He bet like $40 into like a pot that was like maybe like $100. And I called him with a top pair, like medium kicker king, because he was just bluffing all over the place. But for the most part, players do play very straightforward, just like they do in NL2 online. So, anyway, good successful day. And tomorrow, day 3, I'll be playing during the day. So before I leave, so we'll see how that goes, playing during the day versus probably a bunch of nits and old people and regs. So, but I have nothing else to do. So. We'll see if we could just continue the ride, and we'll see how day 3 works out. Let you know. So about to leave the casino. Played about 3 hours today. Day action, not as awesome as night action. Definitely a lot older players, and so I finished down a buy-in, just down 200. So, but overall, it was a successful 3 days here, finishing up $350. Today, really, I just was kind of card dead today, especially on the flop. I got hit hard with a bluff really early on, which I was kind of surprised actually got a call, because I had an open ender, and I had Queen Jack, and I have Queen Jack? No, I had I don't remember what I have right now, but I had an open ender, and there were a couple of kings on the board. So yeah, I did have an open ender, Queen Jack, and there was a king and a 10 on the board. But I bluffed the river with there being 2 kings on the board, and my opponent, who was an older gentleman, ended up calling me with queens, which I was really surprised he did. But other than that, I was pretty card dead for the most part. So it's all right, worked out well. Again, up 350 for the 3 days, and definitely enjoyed the experience. I'm going to try and come back once a month and play some live poker, but in the meantime, back to online. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. If you like what you saw, please do me a favor and subscribe. Until next time, Poker Dad out.